we love the characters we create and the kind of the world. So you have to do three things really well to tell a great, have a great movie. Tell a compelling story that keeps people on the edge of their seat. You populate that story with really memorable characters and appealing characters, and then you put those that story and those characters in a believable world. And so all of our films are kind of original, so we kind of make all those three things up. And it's really difficult to do. So when we do a sequel at Pixar, you know, the characters and the world has kind of been created. And it's so much fun to go back and kind of revisit that world. But we only do a sequel when we come up with a great storyline that is different than the original. We never want to kind of just rehash the same story. And that happens all the time with sequels, you know, and it makes the original movie less original, you know, when they just rehash the same story. So we always took a look at, we thought The Empire Strikes Back and Godfather Part 2 is the two great sequels ever made. Because they made the originals even better for being there. Oh, that's great. And so that's our approach in doing sequels. Cars 2, to me, the idea came, I just got so excited about the possibility of what we could do, because I wanted to really expand the world of Cars. Because in my mind, the world of Cars was not contained in just what you saw in the first movie. I sort of feel like if you and I could go someplace, the cars can go there too. Yeah. You know, because there's no humans in the world, and so it gives us a lot of fun to carify, you know, to carify the places that they go. The idea came from wanting to, when I was traveling around the world doing publicity for the first Cars, I kept, in all the places I visited, I imagined what it would be like if our characters from the movie were there, and I kept laughing because of the great situations and the different car characters that you would have in all these different countries, and then so I thought, man, if we get to do a new movie, I want to take them around the world, and we had created in Cars 1, there was a sequence where Lightning McQueen and Sally were going to go on a first date, and it was going to go to a movie theater. And we had to have a movie showing up on the screen, so we kind of created this spy movie with a character named Finn McMissile. That sequence in the first Cars changed, and so that the movie wasn't used, but I never forgot that, the idea of doing a spy movie. And I thought then, okay, spy movie, and spy movies always go around the world anyway. I said, this is really great.
And races go well together.
And races go really well. And then we wanted to, and I just love all types of racing, and I wanted to get more of those kinds of cars, you know, into this movie. And so it all kind of wrapped together in what became Cars 2.
And you started putting also Mater with the Mater Tall Tales in Spain with the Matador and Tokyo. You start exploring putting Mater in other situations.
Yeah, we sort of came up with you know, with Mater's Tall Tales, which is a series of short cartoons we did in between Cars and Cars 2. We started exploring sort of and expanding the world and taking the characters to many different places, and including sort of Mater goes to Spain to fight bulldozers, not bulls, but bulldozers, and goes to Tokyo. And so we thought, okay, this is kind of really fun. There's a great opportunity here to go to different places. And so we picked countries that in the film that have quite a good car history themselves. You know, Japan and England and France and Italy. So those are the countries that they visit. Though we originally had a race in Germany as well, but the movie was getting too long, and unfortunately that got cut. But we kind of could see them going anywhere, really.
And you keep one racer from Germany.
Yeah, we actually had the original World Grand Prix was 5 races, and there was a race in Germany, a rally race, and a 24-hour endurance race in Paris. And both of those races were cut due to it was just too long of a film, and we didn't need them, so we made it 3 races.
And weren't you afraid that with all the leading role that Mater was taking, it's going to be a little bit of shadow over Lightning McQueen?
No, well, we wanted, we always look in the beginning of the film as we developed the story where the heart of the film is going to come from. And we knew that this movie, the heart was going to be with Lightning McQueen and Mater's relationship. And where Lightning McQueen can head out to these high fashion, centers all around the world with these glitzy races and all that stuff, and he can polish up and put new tires on and he could fit right in. Mater is perfectly at home in the old Route 66 town of Radiator Springs, but you take him out of that and he doesn't fit. And it's that kind of storyline to where he just continues being himself, the same guy he was at home. And back home it's fun for McQueen because he's best friends, but when he comes, to the fancy party in Japan, it's a little embarrassing for him. And it's this kind of thing grows in kind of tension, and then it basically kind of splits them apart and really fractures their friendship. And but through the journey, what they both, what Lightning McQueen comes to is that, Mater needs to be Mater, and I need I'm the one that needs to change, not him. And he kind of has this huge growth through the film. So both of them are really key kind of main characters, but it's really Lightning McQueen that has a big growth in the story.
Talking about changing of roles, you seemed the same guy when Pixar started 25 years ago, but now you are head of animation here and also in Walt Disney Animation. How do you manage to do all the things that you do and also direct a movie?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges of my job. I kind of have a number of jobs that for most people would be a full-time job, but I try to my job as Chief Creative Officer of Pixar and Disney, I kind of creatively run the studios, but I don't dictate everything. Pixar and now Disney are both filmmaker-led studios. And it's really the filmmakers that have that are the creativity of the story and coming up with the story is coming from them and their group. And then what we do is we surround them with what we call the Creative Brain Trust, which is a group of the other directors and other key story people that come together and help everybody make their films. And so in my Chief Creative Officer job, I'm kind of like a creative shepherd, where I just kind of keep these. I don't try to do everything for people. I really want them to make their movies. And what it is I really want to create a really great creative filmmaking environment for all these brilliant filmmakers to make their movies in. Because it's kind of like the way I like to make my movies. Now, when I become the director, I kind of create, a movie.
And
come up with the ideas, and I'm far more involved in all the little details. When I'm Chief Creative Officer, I'm kind of working basically to help them make their movie the best it could be. But I don't go in and tell the animators how to do their things or the lighting or the art department or stuff like that. I'll give comments, but but I really want to help the directors.
And it's different the work. How do you do movies in Pixar than in Disney Animation? Are there differences in the way they work?
There are not too much differences. They're very different from the fact that there's different filmmakers, right? And each studio has a very different heritage.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And what's nice is all the filmmakers at each studio love and cherish the heritage of their studio. And there's a certain type of story that is made kind of at certain type of story that is made kind of at Pixar that is not really the same as the type of stories that are made.
It doesn't work if you take a story from one studio and then put it in the other.
Yeah, no, not really. For instance, like the most recent film from the Walt Disney Animation Studio is Tangled. And I'm so proud of that film, but that is so uniquely Disney.
Really Disney.
Right? And that's what we want to do, is to make a Disney film that has the heart and the feeling of a classic Disney film, but it feels new, right? It looks new. And that's what we want to do, is kind of making classic, kind of classic Disney films for today's audiences. And that's what Disney kind of is about. But not every film will be down there will be a fairy tale.
But right now you're working on a fairy tale with Pixar. That's Brave.
Yeah, and it's Brave is our next film, and it's kind of a fairy tale. It has a female character's main, the Princess Merida, but she is tough, and it is a kind of a big adventure, and it is set in medieval Scotland. And so it's our first true big period film at Pixar. I mean, The Incredibles is kind of a period film, it looks like it's from the 60s, but it's, but by and large, Brave is our first real period film.
Mm-hmm. And what are you planning for Disney Animation?
One second,
Can you put the bottle like another 8 inches that way is good? Oh, you don't have to do that. Just an extra 8. There you go. Perfect.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Thanks.
What are you planning? What are the next projects in Disney Animation?
Oh, we have got in Disney Animation. We are doing a movie that takes place inside a video game, and right now it is called Reboot Ralph. Though that name will probably change, but it is it's an amazing story. It's really great.
And there's also a reboot of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, and sorry, of course. Thank you. You're doing my job for me.
No, not
that.
Really. I'd love to.
Yeah, we have a new. It's funny because I'm working on the Reboot Ralph, but Winnie the Pooh is the next movie that's coming out, which is a whole new story with the characters from the 100 Acre Wood, and it was very exciting. We went back to the original books. Went back to look at the very first Winnie the Pooh that was produced by Walt Disney and his artists, and we were inspired by that, and we kind of found these little stories in the books and kind of brought them together and created a whole new feature film. And it's really funny and really charming, and it has a great music in it, and that's coming out this summer. And I'm not sure when in Argentina, but it's coming out.
Probably in our winter too. Yeah. And would you like to well, this is my last question. So, would you like to add about Cars 2? I mean, what did you love the most doing Cars 2? Cars
2 was, I've got to say, probably the most fun thing I've ever done professionally. I just loved taking the cars around the world, kind of making a spy movie, because I love spy movies, always have, and it's the first one I've made. And I just loved expanding the world of cars, all over the world, but also expanding it to include, boats and trains and more airplanes and, all that stuff. It's just every vehicle is alive, and it's so much fun. And just to kind of envision what these places are like, and the settings are like a character unto itself because they're so detailed and so beautiful. It's by far the most detailed movie ever to come from Pixar. It's really amazing.
Can we expect Cars 3?
Why, I don't know. We're not done making Cars 2 yet. Okay. Ask me when we're done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great, thanks.
Do you mind if I get